Okay, so we are here live today for most likely board questions for physics. We have got two stalwart teachers. Santosh Nimkar sir himself is a prominent teacher, having a tons of experience into physics ICC, and he is like the expert, and he knows like in and out about the subject. On contrary, we have like Mr. Abhijit sir, also a more than decade of experience into physics ICAC, also a stalwart teacher. Both these teachers would be discussing most likely expected questions into board exam. Again, I am telling you, these questions is that we expect, or the theme of the question that we are expecting into this coming exam. Okay, students, I'll also like to tell you, Santosh Nimkar sir and Abhijit sir have put up lot of efforts like to make all this, how the marking scheme would be, what kind of questions are expected. Also at the same also be telling you how to attempt the board paper. Both these teachers are like prominent, technically sound enough about the subject, and also would be clearing out doubts regarding that chapter. But again, I would like to tell you, don't put a lot of doubts, so that we put the most likely expected questions into the exam. Am I clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
So I hope Nimkar sir, would you like to throw some light on it, or Abhijit sir a glimpse about the same?
I think Abhijit will talk to the children. In case if it is required, I will talk to them.
Exactly. So we are good to conduct the session. All yours, sir. Okay, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me clearly?
Good evening,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay. So by now, hearing about the talks, I'm very much clear that your board exams are going on smoothly.
Yeah.
Okay. And the upcoming exams also will go out very smoothly. We have made an attempt to make certain questions which could be most likely or could be closer to the given syllabus that we have. I hope everybody is aware with the board pattern, that paper that we'll have it. Your paper will be divided into two sections. First section will have 10 marks of MCQs, and second section will have question 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, out of which you have to attempt any 3. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, then. I'll start with the session. So should I start with it?
Of course. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm sharing the screen. Are we okay with it? So this is what the paper speaks about. Maximum marks 40. Time allotted 1 hour.
No, 1 hour, 1.5 hour.
1.5 hour. 1 hour 30 minutes. This is what you have been going for all the papers. Then the answer must be written on the paper provided. These are the general instructions that you must have got with all the papers. Attempt all questions from section A and any 3 questions from section B. Intended marks, other parts of the questions are given in the brackets. I think these instructions are the common instructions for all the papers that you have been given up till now. So let's move to the next part. So your first question starts with MCQs. So periodic vibrations of dash amplitude are damp vibrations. Now, what exactly mean by damp vibrations? These are the vibrations, periodic vibrations.
There is opposing force.
Yeah.
Decreasing
amplitude. Why the amplitude decreases?
There is an opposing force.
Resistive force from the medium. Okay, damp vibrations, there are resistive force from the medium. That's why the amplitude goes on decreasing. Next question is, which of the following pair shows the waves of different quality having same pitch and same loudness? Here you have to emphasize on the definition for quality. Now quality depends on waveform. So which are the different waveforms that you could see over here? Compare out the waveforms in A and B, same pitch and same loudness. B.
Sir, B is done.
B. C or D? That is what you have to look for.
B is the answer.
Why B
Sir,
is the
B.
answer?
Sir, it can also be C, right?
Yeah.
How the amplitude is more in the second one.
Check for the amplitudes. Now, if you are not able to see up the lines on the graphs, for A part, there are 2 lines. And in the second one, you have 1, 2, and more than that. So the amplitude is not proper. If amplitude is greater, then loudness is greater. The question reads having same pitch and same amplitude. So this is what you have to look for.
They show the waves of different quality.
Yeah, quality depends on, but having same pitch and same loudness. The condition is also mentioned over there.
Sir, B. Yes, B.
Is it clear? Look for the amplitude because loudness depends on amplitude. In all other cases, if you check up between the 2 waveforms, the amplitudes are different. So loudness are different.
Yes.
So you have to take care, you have to split the question and see if the given condition, here the condition is having same pitch and loudness. Is it matching? Is the diagram matching the given conditions? Since loudness depends on amplitude, on a graph, you can identify the amplitudes very clearly. And if amplitude is greater, loudness is greater, it is not satisfying the condition given in the question, same loudness. Okay?
So B, right?
B part. Yeah, B is the answer. Next question, which of the following diagram shows correct magnetic polarities at the ends of electromagnets? Now look carefully, the wire and the arrow is the direction of the current flow. Here you have to apply the clock rule to identify it, the polarities.
B.
So if you look carefully, A, the current is moving down. What is the direction of flow of current at the ends? Look at the direction of flow of current at the ends. Look carefully at the coiling, how it goes. The current in the first part is entering around. Is it moving in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise? That is, you have to identify. In A part,
Clockwise.
clockwise. So does
So it is
clockwise have-
incorrect.
Yeah. What about the second one?
Second is correct.
Going in anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise. But
Anti-clockwise.
anti-clockwise, you will have south polarity.
The north.
No, sir, not
Sir,
polarity.
south
Option
is
D,
clockwise,
sir.
no?
Sir, answer is D.
D
If you look
option
carefully,
D is
both will
correct.
have south polarity.
No, sir.
Look at the coiling. Look at the coiling everywhere else and look at the D1. The coiling in the latter part has changed. So it's quite possible that both will have the same polarity.
So the C1 is the incorrect.
D1 is the right part because if you look carefully, the coiling in A part has come down from behind to the latter part. Similarly in B, similarly in C, but in D, it is overlapping. It is coming from above part. And in other cases, it is coming from the below part.
Shall I interpret?
Yeah.
So why is B wrong?
If you see in A, B, C, the direction of winding of the coil is not changing when you go from one arm onto the other arm. Now, in this case, the direction of the winding of the coil remains clockwise, and on the other arm, it becomes anti-clockwise. It changes. Sorry, I made a mistake. It changes. Same thing when it goes from one arm onto the other arm, it changes. But here it doesn't change. Here it is in anti-clockwise direction. It remains anti-clockwise. So you will get the same polarities at the two ends.
Look at the windings and look at the directions. That is what I was trying to explain to us. Did you all get it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is the correct answer?
D part, D. Okay.
So means both the poles can be the same.
Yeah. Because look at the windings of the coil. In
Sir, but
one case,
a magnet has two poles, two different poles. No, how the magnet can have
so
no same pole?
this is not a magnet. It's mentioned correct magnetic polarities. So this could be a magnetic substance. Due to the passage of current, it has become an electromagnet, and polarities of electromagnets can be changed if you change the winding of the coil.
Let me disturb. See, it is, can you imagine this arm? Sorry, I'm not sharing. Shall I share?
No.
Nice.
Okay. Now here, if you see, this can be considered as one magnet with south here and north over here. This is another magnet with south here and north over here. So in this case, the molecular alignment will be such that at the center there will be north pole and at the two ends there will be south pole. So if you open it, half of the magnet molecules south pole polarity will be facing this side. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me do the structure.
I hope the things are clear about this question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. The fourth one. Which of the following gives all factors affecting the magnitude of force experienced when a current carrying conductor current carrying a conductor carrying current is placed in a magnetic field? Now, which law are we speaking about over here?
Lens law.
Are you speaking about the Lenz law?
Lawrence.
Lorentz force. Exactly. We are speaking about the Lorentz force. A current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field. So when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. Now, what are the factors on which it will depend? Only on magnitude of current?
So BIN or all three.
Strength of magnetic field, magnitude of current through the conductor, strength of magnetic field, magnitude of current through the conductor, length of the conductor, an angle between the direction of current and the magnetic field, strength of the magnetic field, magnitude of current and through the conductor, and
Sir, C.
the length of the conductor.
This
Now we know that the force experience depends on three things. One is the amount of current, length of the conductor, and strength of the magnetic field.
Sir, D1.
But
It's option D.
but if the current carrying conductor and magnetic field, directions of current and magnetic field are parallel to each other, they are parallel to, recall Fleming's left hand rule.
So angle also.
They should be perpendicular to experience the maximum force. If they are parallel to each other, the force experience is zero. So in this case, the angle also will play a major role. If the angle between them is zero, that is, they're parallel to each other, the force experience will be zero. So here the correct answer should be C. Here the correct answer should be C. Okay. Strength of the magnetic field, magnitude of the current, length of the conductor, and angle between the direction of current and magnetic field. We go to the next question. Which of the following does not imply Ohm's law? Now, what is Ohm's law? What is mathematical presentation of Ohm's law?
Potential difference is equal.
V is equal to I into R, or V upon I is constant, which does not imply. Now, V upon I is constant. I upon V is constant. V upon I is constant. V is directly proportional. C part is representing. B is
Option D, sir.
representing option A or D.
A or D.
Now, so what will we have to choose? Only one.
D. Sir, D, sir.
D.
D.
I upon V will not represent resistance. It will represent
V upon I.
conductance when you go on the graph. So the correct option is D over here, because the question says does not imply Ohm's law. You have to Read the question carefully. Does not imply, doesn't speak about what is representing, which statement will not represent Ohm's law mathematically.
Sir, I have a doubt.
How is I upon B not the answer?
Sir,
See,
how
Why
do
A is not the answer, sir?
I upon V is constant. Constant is what? What about the statement of Ohm's law? Can you recollect the statement of Ohm's law?
V is equal to IR.
the temperature
Okay.
and the physical conditions are constant?
In that case, what is the current passing through the conductor is directly
The current
proportional to
passing
the
through the current is the current passing through the conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across the ends of the conductor.
so what about I upon V is constant? That is what you wanted to know.
May I disturb? If V upon I is constant, if you reciprocate, won't the reciprocal ratio also be constant?
Look
Yeah.
at A and B.
Yes, sir.
So if V upon I is constant, they are not mentioning what is that constant. But in the D part, they have mentioned that I upon V is R, which is not correct.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, how to identify through the VI graph that it is in a parallel, or if they have shown two lines and they ask us is the A1 is the parallel or the B1 is the parallel in parallel circuit.
So in that case, when you refer the graph, you should see up which has got a greater slope. If it's a VI graph,
Okay.
VI graph, the slope will represent resistance. You don't have to calculate. Looking at the graph, you can identify which line has greater slope and which line has got a less slope. If greater slope represents resistance in series and parallel connections, which will, when you take the resistance in series, is the effective resistance increasing or decreasing?
Sir, in series it is more and in parallel it is less.
So if the slope represents resistance, resistance is more in series. So if you have greater slope, greater resistance, so the line represents a series combination.
Sir, for VI graph, no?
VI graph. IV graph, the slope will represent conductance. Greater slope, greater conductance, less resistance.
Okay. And if they ask for the reason, we can say what should we write?
This is only the statement. The slope of VI graph represents resistance. Since slope of A or B, whatever the names are given to the lines, A, B or XY, since slope of B is greater than slope of A, B represents or has more resistance, and resistance is greater when resistors are connected in series. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, more resistance in series, right?
More resistance in series. Greater slope, greater resistance, series connections. Less slope, less resistance, parallel connections. But this is true. You have to be careful. You have to look for VI graph, V on y-axis and I on x-axis. If it's the opposite, then the answer should be accordingly changed. Which of the following statement is not correct? Again, it is speaking not correct. Current flows in a live wire. That's true. Current can flow between live and neutral.
Option C.
Again, true.
Option
Option
C.
C.
Current cannot.
Option A.
Correct.
A.
It's
Not
not correct.
correct.
The question is not correct. That means false statement.
Option D is correct, I guess.
Option D.
C, sir.
Option C.
Option C.
Option D.
Option A.
Option A is the correct one. It flows through live wire. Function of the live wire is to carry the current.
B and C both are also correct. Only D is wrong, as per my guessing.
Sir, in earth wire the current will not flow, but in live and neutral both it will flow.
Why
In live
earth wire
it will
current
But then
will
it
not flow?
has to
Earth and
flow.
neutral, it flows actually. When they're like for some reasons it flows.
Check the first question, first option and the last option. Current flows in
Option
live
A.
wire. Current cannot flow only in neutral.
So
Is it giving any?
the option A.
Option A is the correct statement. The question is asking you to
Option D is
identify
the
a
correct answer.
Option
false
C.
statement.
flow in openly in a neutral wire.
Current flows in live wire.
Sir, can you explain the flow?
So, but current needs two wires to
The
flow,
C
right?
option is not correct.
See, listen. The current cannot flow in any single wire. Say it is live, say it is neutral, say it is earth. Correct? Current flows between two different potentials. Live wire is the wire having higher potential. See, whenever you attempt this kind of question, you have to see the most appropriate answer. Now, if you see current can flow between live and neutral, that's correct. Current can flow between live and earth. Yes, it can flow. There is difference in the potential. Current cannot flow in the neutral wire. Yes, because it is at the zero potential. But current cannot flow only in live wire. It can flow live and something. So the incorrect option would be A.
Option A.
Even if you hang to the live wire without touching any part, nothing is going to happen to you. Can you see these birds on the above railway track? The live wire which is bare, they sit on that, nothing happens to them. Why? Because the circuit is not completed. So only live wire cannot carry current unless until the circuit is complete. Is that clear?
Yes,
sir.
So why is not D?
Current can flow between live and neutral. That's correct.
No, current can flow only in neutral wire.
The current cannot flow only single wire. No? There needs to be a potential difference. Then only current can flow. If it's only neutral wire, where is the other part where it has to go?
If a live wire has more potential and neutral does not have potential.
But it says only live wire now and only neutral wires.
No, I am supporting the.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Specific heat capacities of two substances A and B are 0.2 joules per gram per degree Celsius and 180 joules per kg per degree Celsius respectively. When the word respectively is used, A has specific heat capacity of 0.2 and B has specific heat capacity. The correspondence is this order that is being given in the question. That is how you have to read it. Then which of the following statement is correct? Now the statement is correct. Specific heat capacity of B is greater. Look carefully. One is given in terms of joules per gram and other is in joules per kg. This comparison cannot be done. You need to have both either in joules per kg or joules per gram. So if we convert 0.2 joules per gram into joules per kg, that value turns out to be 200. Now you compare the numbers 200 and 180. Which has a greater specific heat capacity?
A has.
So specific heat capacity of B is greater than A is a false statement. Both, if mass of both is same, then the heat absorbed by A is greater than the heat absorbed by B if their temperatures are increased in the ratio 2:3. Now here you have to take the concept of specific heat capacity. C is equal to Q upon M delta T. Masses are same. Temperature increase are in the ratio 2:3.
D option.
Thermal capacity of B cannot be greater than thermal capacity of C. Here you have to think about the relation. C dash is equal to M into C. If masses is the question speaking about the masses.
No, sir. No, sir.
If masses are equal, thermal capacity and specific heat capacity will be directly proportional. And the D option, specific heat capacity of substance A is greater than specific heat capacity of substance B. So specific heat capacity of A is 200 and B is 180.
A is greater.
D.
So option D should be the right answer.
Yes, sir.
20 grams of liquid is heated till it is completely vaporized. Which of the following graph shows this change correctly? Now it's heated. That means the graph has to first increase and then vaporize. Vaporization, that means change in state. So there will be a plane, plateau.
Temperature constant.
The
A
C1,
temperature constant. So where do you think A is showing constant and increase should not be a right one, because first it will increase and then it will become constant.
B.
B
Sir,
part, it's
B.
increasing, constant, and then again increasing. Can you have any other state if vapors are further increased?
It's option C.
Option C.
C.
Sir, C.
Option C.
Sir, the temperature of the gas cannot increase.
No state change.
After state changes, temperature of gas cannot change if you provide heat.
They can change because they have a specific heat capacity under constant pressure, under constant volume. There are two specific heat capacities the gases will have. But
Yes, sir.
here
So
there is-
B can be the answer, right?
But there is no information given regarding rise in temperature of gas.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So the answer is C, right?
C, yeah. Answer is C. Next question, a nucleus emits beta particle that the daughter nucleus will have. Now, what happens when beta particles is emitted out?
4 minus from the mass number and 2 minus from the atomic number.
One will be increased.
Atomic number
Atomic number will
Increase by 2.
Mass number remains
remain
same.
same.
Beta particle atomic number increases by 1 and mass number remains constant, same. Now, let's see. During beta emission, a neutron is converted into proton. So, number of neutrons decreased by 1 and number of protons increased by 1. Atomic number decreases by 1, mass number the same. Atomic number and mass number remains the same. Atomic number the same and mass number increased by 1. So atomic
Option
number
A.
option A is the correct answer over here. Atomic number decrease, atomic number increases by 1. Atomic number and mass number remain same. That is not possible. That happens only when gamma radiation takes place or gamma emission takes place. Atomic number the same and mass number increased by 1. That is also not possible because over here it's atomic number increasing by 1 and mass number remaining same. So the correct answer is A in this case. Number of neutrons. Sorry?
Sir, it releases one electron, right?
Yeah. Actually, the neutron gets changed or split up into electron and a proton. Electron is released and proton is retained. So proton increases by 1 and neutron, since it splits, is decreased by 1.
Okay, sir.
Which of the following radioisotope is useful in identifying the age of fossils?
C14.
Yeah, this is called as carbon dating. So carbon dating, only one symbol that represents carbon in the given answer or options, C14. U38 is nuclear fission that is used as a energy in the reactors. K40, cobalt 60 is used to treat cancers, but those are for gamma radiations. C14 with beta radiations is used to identify the age. The process is known as carbon dating. We go to question 2 now. This first question is for 3 marks. A diagram below shows a conductor PQ. So the PQ represents conducting wire. A magnetic compass is kept below the conductor PQ. So what you could see inside the circle represents the magnetic compass. It's kept below. This is in reference with the Oersted's experiment. The observations of Oersted's experiment. If current flows through the conductor from P to Q, that is from north to south, as per the, but don't look for it. P to Q, to which side the south pole of the compass deflects. So north and south, side A will be west side, side B will be east side with reference to the compass.
So side B.
Side B.
It's kept below.
So it will be east.
Eastern side.
It will move towards the east side.
Yes, sir.
Why? That means the deflection should be side A, North Pole pointing towards A.
Read question carefully. They have not asked North Pole. They have asked
South Pole.
Sir, can you please explain how this is or how this happens? Because I'm really
Idea.
confused in this topic.
This
When
is
the
with
needle is
reference
below.
to this is with reference to the Oersted experiment. Oersted
Idea.
experiment says that when you need to right hand thumb rule. Right hand thumb rule.
Now just pay attention. You place your right hand. Okay. Now the current is flowing from P to Q. So your thumb will point in downward direction.
Yes.
So if this is a conductor, current is flowing in downward direction. So behind the conductor, the magnetic field is to the right, towards your right hand side.
Yes.
And other side it will be towards the left.
Yes.
Now where is the compass placed? This side or above the conductor?
Sir,
Below the conductor.
Below the conductor. That means the magnetic field is to the right. That means North Pole will deflect to the right. That means South will deflect to the left hand side. That is towards side A.
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
If the current is passed through conductor from Q to P and the compass is placed above the conductor,
Same result.
then to which side the North Pole? Here now the pole is changed. Earlier it was South Pole, now here it is the North Pole.
West.
Now in this case it will be above.
Sir, can you please explain?
Read the question. If the current is
Sir, I
passed through
didn't get
conductor
how
from
to,
Q to P and the compass is placed above, so the direction of current is changing. Even the position, earlier the compass was below the conductor, now the compass is placed above the conductor.
That is means it is in front of the wire.
And to which side the North Pole? Now the pole is also changed as compared to the first part. First part it was asked the South Pole, now the North Pole of the compass deflects to which side. So you have to be careful, you have to read the questions carefully.
Can you see? See now my thumb will point in the upward direction. So behind the conductor, the magnetic field is to the left, and in front it is to my right. So the North Pole is in front, so it will deflect to the right.
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Why does the compass?
Yeah, yes, someone is saying something.
Sir, can you please repeat? Because I am getting side A.
See now your magnetic compass, according to when you are facing the screen, the magnetic compass is not behind the wire, it is in front of the wire. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now your thumb will point upward. So when I encircle it, behind the conductor, it is going to the left, to your left hand side. Are you getting that?
Yes, sir.
And in front, it will be in the opposite direction. So your
Yes, sir.
magnetic compass is kept in front. So the North Pole will deflect to the right, towards B.
Okay, sir. I got it. Thank you.
Why does the compass deflect when we pass current through the conductor? So what should be the reason? Why does it? Because current carrying a current produces a magnetic field.
Sir, your side A is North Pole and side B is South Pole, no?
I couldn't hear.
So side A is North Pole and side B is South Pole.
What is North Pole? What is South Pole? Could you please talk a little louder?
Sir, side A should be the North Pole, no?
Side A.
Yes.
Side A should be North Pole and side B South Pole. That is what you're asking.
Yes, sir.
With reference to the diagram, the magnetic north and south are shown. Now, side A will represent west and east. So the questions asked are whether the deflection will take place. But read the question, they are asking the deflection of South Pole, and in second question it is being asked about the North Pole.
Sir, so where is east and west in this diagram?
Side B will be east.
Side B will represent east. If you below the question, stem part below, there is a diagram that is being shown, isn't it? A circle, then a line. Can you see that diagram?
Yes.
Yeah, so with reference to that diagram, side A will be west and side B will be east.
When you face towards north, to your right hand side is east, to your left hand side is west.
Okay, sir, got it.
Why are surfaces of a calorimeter polished? The surface of calorimeter are polished to reduce heat loss due to radiation.
Radiation.
How do we reduce heat loss due to conduction?
Sir,
By using wool or cotton, which is
wool
placed
or
around
cotton is
the
placed.
Space between calorimeter and the wooden box should be filled up with the insulating material. And
such
for
as
convection,
wool,
you
cotton.
cover up the wooden box with a wooden lid.
Sir, how is like polishing the surface of a calorimeter helping to reduce radiation?
Polished surface are good reflectors. So if at all there is any heat outside present already, when it touches or when it is incident on the reflecting surface, it gets back. It is not absorbed by the surface. Some absorption takes place, but that's a minimal absorption. And some heat from inside, if you add some hot substance inside the calorimeter, even if it tries to escape, due to the polished surface, it reflects back inside only. So minimum heaters, 0% heat loss is not possible over here. As compared to the amount of heat inside, if the reflection is maximum and minimum absorption, that can be neglected. I hope I have cleared your doubt.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So now the second part, the diagram below shows a heating curve of substance X. Details are being given. Specific heat capacity of solid is 500 joules per kg per degree Celsius. Specific heat capacity of liquid is 980 joules per kg per degree Celsius. Specific latent heat of fusion of X is given out to be 6800, that is 68,000 joules per kg, and specific latent heat of vaporization of X is 430,000 joules per kg. Calculate the heat absorbed by 8 kg of substance X. Now, what is substance X? Looking at the heating curve. Look at the heating curve. What should be substance X? Should it be solid? It is already mentioned with the specific heat capacity of solid X. When it is heated from 250 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius. Now, when the temperature rise takes place, will there be increase in the temperature that is shown over here? So it will be always a rising part on the graph. And whenever there is a latent heat, that is change in state, the graph part will be a temperature constant. So the formula, calculate the heat absorbed. Mass is 8 kg. C of solid is given out to be 500 joules per kg per degree Celsius. And what is the temperature difference that is given out to be? 250 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius. A straightforward question. Q is equal to MC delta T. Substitution and formula, you'll have your 1 mark. And the calculation turns out to be 392,000 joules.
So why they have given the latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization and all?
If there could have been another question asked out when you have to calculate the mass if it is not given.
Out of all the values, you need to understand which values to use. So the temperature change is given.
So is it possible that some values can be given to confuse us in the exam?
Why not? Because ultimately you need to understand what information to use from this. And that will happen only when the clarity of the question is there in your mind.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, So how to identify that if it is a solid or a liquid?
If it is a solid or a liquid.
See, it is a heating curve. Now there are two horizontal lines. That means this is vaporization, this is fusion. So below fusion, it has to be solid. After fusion, it has to be liquid. Nothing shown beyond this, so there is no change in gas they have given. Temperature of gas. So that means this corresponds to liquid state. Is that clear?
So solid X, so we should take 500, right?
How? Solid is in this part, na? Your 250 to 300 will lie within this range. Sorry, I am not sharing this. You are showing?
For derivations of there.
See, show your 200, 250 to 300 lies within that
Look
range.
carefully. Look carefully at the graph. Look carefully at the graph.
See, 200 to 300. 200 to 300 lies within this range. No, leave it. Within this range. Because that is from 200 to 800. And your change in temperature is 250 to 300. Clear?
Look carefully at the graph. At 200 to 800, the temperature change 250 to 300. Which state it is corresponding? Is it corresponding the solid state or the liquid state on the graph?
Okay, liquid state. Got it.
So
Sir, if
specific
the
heat capacity of
temperature was
liquid is
not
given to
given,
be
then what would
980.
be?
Sorry?
Sir, if temperature was not given, then we could consider it as 800 minus 200 for the initial and final temperature.
Yeah. And that's why the temperature range is mentioned. No? For a
Then it
specific
should be
temperature range, how much is the heat absorbed?
Yes, sir. Then it should be specific heat capacity of liquid, right?
Yes. And that's why we have taken it as 980 and not 500.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next is a diagram that is being given. Observe the diagram given below and answer the following. Answer the questions that follow. Calculate the total resistance across AB. Now it travels from A, splits up into two parts, current I1, I2. Then there is third part, 6 ohms, and then it reaches point B. When the current splits, the branches are in parallel with each other. So how do you calculate for parallel connections?
So 1 upon R.
1 upon R equals to 1
R1
upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. So here we have the thing as 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 2 plus 1 upon 6. LCM turns out to be 6. R is equal to 1 ohms.
Here I would like to share one thing. Common mistake the students make on the left hand side, instead of writing 1 upon R, they tend to write R. Okay. And at the last stage, they just reciprocate it. Now in this case, it has come 1. But if it comes 1 and immediately you write down ohm, it becomes wrong. Because after reciprocal need to be taken, then only you can write down that ohm sign. So if small things you don't care, it may cause in the loss of marks.
What sir was indicating was that you need to be careful what you are writing on the left side starting the equation and what is there on the right side when you get it finally. Calculate the current I1. Now, how do we?
Potential difference isn't there.
We can find out 0.4 and 6.
Because it's parallel, the potential difference through all the resistors will remain constant. So V is equal to I into R, 0.4
0.8 answer.
is equal to I1 into 3, because across it the resistor is 3 ohm in that branch. You get it as 0.8 amperes. Similarly, for calculations of I2.
So current is different in all three of them, right?
Yeah, current will split. Current will split. Calculate potential difference across AB. So currents are 0.8, 1.2 and 0.4. What will be the potential difference across AB?
We have to use Ohm's law, right, for this?
There is no need of Ohm's
Ohm's
law.
law.
You have to keep the fact that in parallel combination, potential difference remains the same. So the last branch, if you see, 6 into 0.4, so it is 2.4, and that will be the potential difference across each branch.
Actually, that is what we have been using in B and C.
Yeah.
You can go for D part first, calculate the potential difference, and then you can apply it to the different branches, because in parallel, potential difference remains constant or remains the same.
Sir,
Okay.
how did you find 0.4, sir?
It's given in the question 0.4. Look at the diagram.
Oh, okay,
In the
sir.
third branch, the current value is given to be 0.4. Resistance value is given out to be, resistor value is given out to be 6 ohms. So using that, you can find the potential difference. V is equal to
Or
IR.
we can add all this and we can find it
And
out,
what?
right?
Then also it will come the same.
Same. That will be a long process, addition. Your steps will increase.
Sir, I didn't get B and C.
Sorry? B and C. If you
So what is
calculate
the
the last part first, let's say potential difference. What is the potential difference? 0.4 into 6, that becomes 2.4 volts. Now that potential difference will be same across all the branches. Across the first branch where the current is I1, across the second branch where the current is I2, and the same will be across the third branch.
So,
again, at each branch you apply V is equal to IR, so 2.4 is equal to
so how much
I
time
into-
does it take to complete full physics portions?
Sorry?
How much time does it take to complete full physics portions?
How much time it will take to complete?
Not relevant question. It is not relevant to what we are doing just now.
So I have to start now. Will I be able to complete by Monday?
Yeah, you will
Yeah,
be.
yeah. You should be.
Because it is only 50% portion. Yeah.
Thank you.
Question
Hello,
3. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, D part, calculate PD across AB. So B equals to 0.4 into 6. Sir, why you have taken 6, sir? Resistance to 1, na?
The resistance across, potential difference across the third branch, if you see up, you can calculate, no? And that same potential difference will be there across all the branches, because in parallel connections, the potential difference remains the same.
So why you have taken R is 6?
Last branch, what do you have R as?
Yes, sir.
When at the last branch, if you see the diagram, what is the R value?
Sir, 6.
So V is equal to IR, and that same potential is constant. So 0.4 into 6 will give you the potential difference, which will be same for all the branches.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
A diagram below shows question 3, a bulb connected to a power supply. Observe the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Name the colors of wires A and B. Now wire A has fuse as well as the switch. So which wire is it?
Live wire.
Live
Red
wire.
color.
Live wire.
Live
Live
wire.
wire. If
Brown.
they have not mentioned,
Red
I
or
would suggest
brown?
that you write
Red.
new sign conventions over there. If they mention specifically old sign conventions or old color codes, then only you mention red. Otherwise, it's brown. And for neutral, it's light blue.
Sir, I have a doubt. According to this color convention, if you go according to the concise textbook, for the earth wire, it is given old convention. According to it, it is given green, and according to new convention, it is given yellow or green. So if such an ambiguous question comes in MCQ for the new convention of
That's
earth
what I'm
wire,
saying. If they don't mention old color codes, you have to write according to new color codes only.
but sir, if it is specifically mentioned the new color code and the options are green and yellow, so what should we choose?
Then you will not have different.
They will never give green and
Sir,
yellow
points is
both
enough,
as
sir.
a separate option for green. For
Earth wire.
earth wire.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If the fuse of the bulb is of rating 2 amperes,
Sir,
then
B is
state.
of earth wire, right?
Sorry?
Sir, is 4 enough,
B
sir?
is earth wire, right?
B is neutral. Is in a power supply that you see here. B is neutral, representing neutral wire.
Yes, sir.
Earth wire is not shown in the diagram.
If the fuse of the bulb is of rating 2 amperes, then state with necessary calculations whether the fuse of rating is correct or need to be changed. So you have to look at the diagram. The bulb power ratings are given next to the bulb. So P is equal to VI. First calculate I. If the I value is less than 2 amperes, yes, the correct rating is correct. If it is more, now this is called as the safe limit of current, what you're calculating. That safe limit of current, if the bulb or if the device current rating is fuse rating is given out to be 2 amperes and the calculations are less than 2, then it's safe to go with it. So you have to use the formula P is equal to V, and accordingly you have to calculate it.
Sir, if the resistance was given, then we have to use P is equals to V square by R, right?
Then you have a choice. Then you have a choice of which one to use around.
So I have a
Sir, do
question.
we have to remember the current rating of common appliances? Because in syllabus it is mentioned that
No need, no need.
no.
This chapter is very BS for me. Can we skip any chapters, sir?
See, you can always skip the chapter, but then you'll have to skip the marks also if you don't have the, because what happens, it reduces your option. And secondly, there is no guarantee that electricity will be asked as a separate topic. One full question may not be on the entire electricity.
So when you gave the exam, did you have any options, sir?
I think let's go ahead. I think this question becomes irrelevant when I had option or not. Because I have many facilities.
3 seconds. Why are the bases of cooking utensils are made up of thick copper plates? This is with reference to the heat capacity. Base increasing increases the mass, and increasing the mass increases the thermal capacity or heat capacity. And if more heat or more thermal capacity, it helps the food to be kept warmer for a longer duration of time.
So they shouldn't have said copper, right? Because they're opposing their own statement. Because because copper is like low specific low heat capacity.
That's why it is made thicker, na? Thickness increases the heat capacity.
Right, sir.
Okay, it increases the mass, and so heat capacity depends on mass. Greater the mass, greater the heat capacity or thermal capacity.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
20 gram of ice at minus 10 degrees Celsius is heated and melted to form water at 10 degrees Celsius. State with a reason whether thermal capacity of water formed remains the same or increases or decreases. Now mass is same. What about the specific heat capacity? C dash is equal to M into C. Masses are constant. So what can you say about C dash and C? Thermal capacity and specific heat capacity.
They are directly proportional to each other.
So water has greater, or ice has greater specific heat capacity. Water specific heat capacity of water is 4.2 joules per gram per degree Celsius, and that of ice is 2.1 joules per gram per degree Celsius. So if they are directly proportional, thermal capacity of water will increase.
For sure, I'm going by.
Sorry?
So please continue.
So thermal capacity of water increases. 1 mark for that, and they have asked you a reason. So reason is thermal capacity and specific heat capacity are constant are directly proportional for a same mass or constant mass. Since specific heat capacity of water is greater than that of ice, thermal capacity of water will be greater than that of ice.
So can you please explain this again?
Sir, may I ask you a question? What will be your expectation about your about paper? It will be tough or moderate?
Easy.
Easy, sir.
Explain this.
Yeah, if you see up the relation, thermal capacity C dash is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. Now 20 gram of ice at 0 or whatever temperature is given out is melted to form water. So the mass is constant. It's not mentioning about reduction in mass. Mass is supposed to be constant. So in that case, heat capacity and specific heat capacity are directly proportional to each other. Heat capacity and specific heat capacity are directly proportional. Specific heat capacity of water is 4.2 joules per gram per degree Celsius, and that of ice is 2.1 joules per gram per degree Celsius.
Yes, sir.
So if specific heat capacity is greater, thermal capacity will increase. The question is whether thermal capacity of water formed remains same, increases or decreases. So since it's
So when it will
Can I
decrease?
ask my question?
when it will move from water to frozen to ice. The thermal
when
capacity when water is frozen to ice will be less for ice.
And when it will be same?
You can't have them same, na? When it will be same.
It would be same.
It won't be. Unless and until masses, but mass loss, we don't have it.
No, they have given the ice. Ice melts, so mass will not change. It's a physical change. So mass will not change, but because of the liquid state, the specific heat capacity increases. So M into C product for ice will be less than M into C product for water. M remains the same, C are different. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A metal piece of thermal
So can I ask
capacity.
my question?
Yeah. Yes.
So the derivations are there in the syllabus, or they can ask?
What is there in the syllabus?
Derivations. We don't have any derivations.
Derivations of what?
So parallel series.
No, it's not there. This year it is not there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
A metal piece of thermal capacity 42 joules per Kelvin is heated to 255 degrees Celsius and dropped in 200 grams of water present at 40 degrees Celsius in a calorimeter of specific heat capacity 0.42 joules per gram per degree Celsius. If the final temperature of the mixture is 50 degrees Celsius, then calculate the mass of calorimeter. Now remember, the initial temperature of calorimeter and its content will remain same. Water at 40 degrees Celsius, so initial temperature of calorimeter also will be 40 degrees Celsius.
Sir, so it will be heat lost
Sir,
by the
can you
metal
repeat?
is equal to
I'll
heat.
just. This is the information that we shown in a tabular form. So for metal, specific heat capacity is 42. Thermal capacity.
So there is only thermal capacity
Thermal
or heat
yeah.
capacity.
I'm sorry. Its thermal capacity is 42 joules per Kelvin. For calorimeter, specific heat capacity is given out to be 0.42, and that of water is 4.2 joules per gram per degree Celsius. Initial temperatures of metal pieces 255, that of calorimeter is 40, and that of water is 40 degree. Now, calorimeter initial temperatures is not specified. You have to take it same as the temperature of its content. Whatever the initial temperature of the content, same will be the initial temperature of calorimeter. The final temperature of the mixture is 50 degrees Celsius. So the temperature difference for calorimeter and water will remain same. Here you are applying the principle of mixtures or principle of calorimetry. Heat loss. Now heat is lost by the metal and it is gained by calorimeter and water. Now here you have to be careful while placing it. The equation when you write it, the substitutions will be in accordance to it. The substitution should be proper. Heat loss is equal to heat gain. The formula as per the given question should be written out properly. Which material is gaining heat, which material is losing it, that should be written out properly. Then the substitution also should be appropriate as per the equation form, and then you have to solve it. Now, thermal capacity is given out to be 4.42. So M into C is thermal capacity. That's given out to be 42. Then you take the temperature difference. Then again 200, 4.2, 50 minus 40. Substituting them, when you resolve it, you'll get the answer as 50 grams.
Sir, does this given information needs to be written?
It's better we write it out, put it in the tabular form. It's for our convenience. It helps us to substitute it properly.
Sir, but
No
marks
marks are
will be
no marks are
considered.
given for that. But to
So sorry,
avoid that, don't make a mistake. It is better if you write it in this tabular form and then go ahead. Yes.
So in a
Sir,
question,
I am getting 8610 by multiplying 205 and 42.
Your calculation you have to check some. Calculation you have to
so like in an equation, if we directly write the values without specifying it, so will we lose marks?
I didn't get your question. You mean to say direct multiply and you write down?
Yes, sir. Without doing any tabular or like putting it, assigning it some
Yeah,
radius.
yeah. Though table is not compulsory, there are no marks for result for tables. But I would suggest that at first stage, you don't do any direct multiplication. Reason being, the marks distribution is there is 1 mark for the substitution of metal, 1 mark for the substitution of water, 1 mark for the substitution of calorimeter. Now, if you
Sir, here it is given correct. The 4.2 is here being divided. That's why it is written 2050.
yeah, correct. Because 4.2, when I bring it down, that 10 will get
Yeah,
added
sir.
to 420. So that gives me 2050.
Sir,
Yeah.
I have a doubt that the temperature of calorimeter or it is added in the cold body or the hot body.
How can the temperature be added?
No, sir. I said wrong that I'm asking for MC delta T of calorimeter is added in the water or the cold body. Means cold body. It is always being added in the cold body side.
If you look at the initial temperatures, what is the metal piece temperature?
255 degrees Celsius.
And calorimeter and water both are at lower heat. Always flows from a body which is at higher temperature to the body which is at lower temperature.
Lower temperature, yes. Sir.
So from metal piece, the heat will be lost to calorimeter as well as water. Na?
Okay, sir.
Both will absorb it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Question 4. State the 2 factors affecting the frequency of vibrating string. Which factor is used to tune a string?
Tension.
Musical instrument.
Tension, length, and radius of the string. It is inversely proportional to the length of the string, inversely proportional to the radius of the string, and directly proportional to the root of tension of the string. Tension.
So when you are asked the factors, you are expected to explain the factor affecting the given quantity. Here the given quantity is frequency of the vibrating string. So you have to describe those factors. Directly proportional to square root of tension, inversely proportional to square root of mass per unit length, and inversely proportional to length of the string.
The second factor is also given in terms of radius sometimes.
It's given as pi r square.
If the radius is greater than unit length, the mass will be more. If the radius is small in unit length, the mass will be less. So you can write down radius of this factor, no problem.
And the latter part, which factor is used to tune the string musical instruments? Tension. Because for a given instrument, you can't change the mass per unit length, neither you can change the length of the strings.
Sir, mass per unit length is the cross-sectional area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now question 4. The diagram below shows 2 electromagnets facing the ends each other. A conductor carrying current is placed between 2 poles as shown. To avoid the confusion, complete circuit of a wire is not shown. But if you could see carefully, the direction of current is shown on the wire. It's from B to A. Is it clear? Observe the diagram and answer the questions that follow. State the observations about the wire AB when the keys K1 and K2 are closed. K1 and K2 will be closed. Current will start flowing across
Circuit
a
is complete.
circuit is complete. Now you have to identify what would be the observations. So
They
current
will
carrying
work as
conductor placed in
magnets.
a magnetic field. What are we speaking about? What are we looking at? Because the moment the current starts passing, the coiling, the winding will generate magnetic field. It will, both the rods will
They
act
will
as
attract each other.
yeah, but what would
Both the
the question is about the wire.
Okay.
So to understand the concept, it's current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. Again, the concept of Lorentz forces come into picture. So what would you see? What would you see about the wire? Will it be deflected?
The force.
It will experience the force and its direction will be upwards. State the reason for
Why upwards?
Using Fleming's left hand.
Sir, why upward?
Okay.
Left hand.
Now in the coil A, near the conductor, what polarity is formed by using clock rule?
North.
Correct. And in the other coil, opposite coil, what is
South.
the polarity formed near the wire?
South.
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 So that means my magnetic field is from north to south. My first finger is in this direction. Are you able
Yes,
to see?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then the current is coming out of the screen. Correct? Where is the current? The wire is horizontal between the two. It is coming outward.
Can
So
you
you're-
please show on the screen?
Pardon?
Can you
Not the
please
screen.
show on the screen?
The current is coming in the outward. Move from big to cursor. Move from big to. The current is coming out. Right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So what is the direction of my thumb?
Upwards.
Upward. So the force experience will be upward on AB.
this is in accordance with the Fleming's left hand rule.
Is it clear? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
State the reason for your observation.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can you explain the direction of magnetic field here?
Magnetic field will always
Sir.
be from north to south. Na?
Yes, sir.
So if the coil on the left hand side of the wire has the north polarity and the right hand side, so between the two poles there is a magnetic field. Na?
Yes, sir.
And the conductor carrying current is placed through that. Carrying current is placed in a magnetic field. So it will experience Lorentz force.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I understood.
Name one
Thank you,
instrument
sir.
which works on this effect.
Electric bell.
DC motor.
Okay.
Electric bell.
No, electric
No,
bell
electric.
doesn't use the Lorentz force.
Transformer.
It's a magnetic effect of current. You can use ammeter, DC motor, galvanometer,
Galvanometers.
voltmeter, all they work on this principle.
So then where is electromagnet and electric bell used?
But the question is not with the electromagnet. Question is with respect
To the Lorentz force.
Lorentz force.
Deflection.
Second transformer used.
Sir, sir, can you explain Lorentz force?
That's what I explained just now. In a Lorentz force means in a magnetic field. Okay.
Yes, sir.
In a magnetic field, if you place a conductor carrying current, then your first finger of the left hand you place along the magnetic field.
Okay, sir.
The middle finger along the direction of current, then the thumb will give you the direction of the force experience.
Force. Okay, sir. Fleming left hand
Fleming.
rules is the Lorentz law. or
Fleming's
Lorentz
left hand
force.
rule is used to find out the
Find the
direction
Lorentz
of Lorentz force.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, so here if the current's direction was from A to B, then also
No,
it
B.
would
Then it
experience
would
the
flow in
force.
down, experience force in downward direction.
Can you please explain Lorentz law, please?
There is nothing as Lorentz law. Lorentz force, its direction. Force being a vector quantity, it will have direction and magnitude.
There is no Lorentz law. It states that a conductor carrying current is placed in a magnetic field, not parallel to it, experiences Lorentz force. It is experiences force. It is named after the scientist Lorentz.
Sir, in this diagram, there is no direction of magnetic field given, right?
Sir,
That
like,
you have to
can you
identify
tell
from
how
the
it
coil.
moves?
In general, the magnetic field direction is from North Pole to South Pole. So at every coil, you have to identify where is North Pole and where is South Pole.
So
In the
means
diagram
current
where the
flows from north
K2,
to south.
where you have K2, if that is closed, see the winding and what polarity will be formed at this position near to the wire.
So means the direction is from north pole to south pole.
Yes, direction of magnetic field is from North Pole to South Pole.
Sir, how to determine whether it moves upward or downward?
Using the Fleming's left hand rule.
So the angle is not 90 degrees. Will there still be a deflection?
Yes.
But it should not be 0. Anything between 0 to 90 will show deflection.
Except 90. Except
0. If it is 0, then no deflection. And when the two components, the lines are in parallel to each other, then only the angle between the components will be 0.
So why is it a deflection at 0?
Because the force produced experience will be 0 in that case.
So,
Yes.
sir, I have a doubt. If in the paper it comes that the magnitude of write the formula or magnitude of force, so we will write current into magnetic field into length into sine theta, or we will
They
not
will
write
not ask.
cos
They will
theta?
not ask. It is not there in your syllabus. Actual formula is BIL sine theta.
Yes, sir.
So this is out of syllabus.
Angle, yes. Observe the nuclear reaction and answer the questions that follow. Look carefully. X has atomic number 92.
Radiation.
Sorry?
Alpha radiation. Alpha radiation.
Z is alpha radiations. State the property. So any one property can be stated.
It is having more
Low penetrating power,
ionizing
higher
power.
ionizing power. Any one can be stated over there.
So could we also say that it does less biological damage?
Externally.
That you'll have to mention.
Oh, yes, sir.
Does this radiation travel with speed of light? No.
No.
An element,
gamma
name an
rays travel,
element
no?
formed when this radiation absorbs 2 electrons.
Sir,
Helium.
Helium.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in some books, it tells that when a questions come that it emits 2 beta particles. So the atomic numbers they are changing. That here it is given 92. So they are directly means adding it up 94. And some books are telling that if it only emits 2 beta particles, then also it is doing that 92 and it gets 93, the atomic number.
Yeah, but you have to look for the mass number also. No, why? Daughter element
Yeah, sir,
has mass number
will
addition.
be unchanged. No, in both the cases, mass number will be unchanged.
Yes, definitely. So if 2 beta particles are shown to be emitted, with every beta emission, the atomic number will increase by 1.
How will it become 94?
Atomic number.
So after y, huh?
No. Instead of 1 alpha, if 2 beta particles are shown to be emitted. With mass number keeping constant, then it can be 94 y to 35 itself.
Yeah.
Okay?
So while writing this, when alpha particle is emitted, we have to write that symbol of helium atom, right?
Either you can use the alpha sign or you can use the helium symbol.
But atomic number and mass number need to be written.
Yeah.
For reaction
Okay,
to be balanced reaction.
And when beta particle is emitted, we have to write 0 or -1 and that E.
Beta sign or E electron sign.
And
Sir,
for
what
gamma
about gamma?
particle, only the gamma sign?
Only the gamma sign.
Because gamma is a radiation, it's not a particle.
When we're writing alpha as helium, do we write He2 plus or He is enough?
He is enough. But alpha that you atomic number and mass number needs to be there. No? So when you write He plus to that, when you have written down mass number, atomic number, it says it all. Either you can use the alpha symbol or helium symbol, but atomic number and mass number should be properly mentioned. 2 bulbs are rated 50 watts and 200 volt each, are connected in series across 200 volt supply. Calculate current through this circuit and the total power consumed. So for calculating current, first find out the resistance across each. So using P is equal to V square upon R, you get the resistance as 800. Now they are connected in series, so total resistance becomes 1600. And then you use the formula V is equal to I into R and calculate the current.
Sir, for current, we can directly do P upon V, that is 50 upon 200. So the answer comes 0.25 ampere.
But it says they are connected in series. Na? When they are connected in series, each of their resistors will add together. Na? So if resistors are increasing, will the current remain same?
See, when the rating of the appliance is given, they give the rating assuming they are connected in parallel. Okay, now if these bulbs are connected in parallel, the power consumed will remain 50. But if they are connected in series, the power will not remain the same. Resistance will remain the same, and through resistance, you have to calculate the other values.
And calculate the total power consumed. So P is equal to V square upon R, you get it as 25 watts. Since they are connected in series, the power has reduced that you can
Keep it in mind, if two bulbs of same rating are connected in series, the total power will become 1.4. If 3 bulbs, the total power will become 1.9. If 4 bulbs, total power will become 1.16. That's the logic. If you want to do it mentally.
This you can help to cross-check your answers whether we have got it right or not.
Now 2 bulbs means total power is 100 watt. So whereas we have got it as 25, 1/4 of 100. Because 2 bulbs.
Sir, why it's taken as 600?
Sir, when it is 3 bulbs,
Why
then it
it's
will be
taken as 1600?
One resistor has 800. Na? So if they are connected in series, you add the resistors. Na? Resistance 800 plus 800.
How do you add the resistances in series? R is equal to R1 plus R2, na?
This
Yes,
800 what you have calculated is the resistance offered by one bulb. There are
Excuse
two
me,
such
sir.
bulbs which are connected in series.
Sir,
Yeah.
so for the A part, so how could we use the V equals to IR formula? So because like it's given that this filament of a bulb is a non-ohmic resistor.
No, here you have to assume because you have in your syllabus only Ohm's law. So you do not have any calculation in which apart from the Ohm's law.
Oh, so like we can use a V equals to IR formula for even bulbs.
Yeah.
Actually not, but you according to the syllabus you have to use a ohmic resistor only. It is the convention.
Oh, yes, sir.
Sir, for B part, can we use P equals to I?
P equals to
VI.
VI.
Yes.
Power is equal to VI, but power then you'll have to calculate first. Power will not be 100. When the bulbs are connected in series, the power will not become 100.
Sir, but we have V and I.
I didn't get it. Yeah. You can. The first current and the voltage you are talking about to calculate power. Yes, you can.
Yes.
Total volt because it's connected to the same 200 volt supply.
Sir, how many marks do we get if we write the formula?
No marks.
So
marks are there for substitution.
It's marking is for formula plus substitution.
So for the A part, we could also use the formula P equals to VI.
Why P equals to VI?
1 second. If you use P equal to VI, that will give you the current drawn when the bulbs are connected in parallel. Or a single bulb, what current is drawn?
Here it's clearly mentioned that they are connected in series.
So please could you repeat that? Why can't we use that formula?
Sir, if we use, we'll get the answer. No?
If you use, you will get the current of a single bulb. But in series combination, the resistance will not remain the same. 800 plus 800. So how can the current will remain the same?
Sir, second part.
I think he was asking about the first part.
Yes, sir.
For second part, what is it?
Second part P is equal to VI, you can apply.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Question 5. 3 different tuning forks resonate over 3 air columns formed in the tubes A, B, and C as shown in the diagram. Observe the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Tuning fork above which air column will have longest prongs? Look at the diagram. What about the air columns?
Sir, A.
Okay, perfect. How do you come to the conclusion?
So because all 3 lengths have to be same. So because A is the longest tube, so we'll need the longest one there.
Actually, the frequency of A is lower due to the longest air column. And air column and frequency are inversely proportional. So to resonate, you will need tuning forks with lowest frequency, and therefore prong needs to be longest. Because length and frequency are inversely proportional. Look at the diagram. Okay?
Got it.
Which air column will have shriller sound on resonance?
C.
Very good.
Because it will have highest frequency.
Frequency. Okay?
Yes, sir. So,
Yes.
I have some doubts in this chapter.
At the end.
We'll
Okay, sir.
take it at the
Sure, sir.
Why does it become colder after hailstorms than during or before the hailstorms?
Sir, because the ice absorbs from the surrounding, making it colder.
To melt, ice will surround the heat from the or absorb the heat from the surroundings. As a result, temperature of the surroundings will fall. Is it necessary?
2 points are necessary here. The latent heat absorbed or heat absorbed by ice to melt, and that heat is large. So if you write down that latent heat absorbs large, hail absorbs large amount of latent heat, you are covering both the points. The points need to be covered is it absorbs latent heat, and that is very large, and therefore it becomes colder.
If a nuclear radiation passes through a magnetic field without bending, then name the radiation.
Gamma radiation.
Gamma radiation. State its one medical use. Now
Used to kill cancer cells, and leukemia cells.
Be careful, it is asking a specific use, medical use. So only medical use will be treated over here or considered over here. Gamma cells and cobalt-60 is used in treatment of cancers.
Any use you can give, but it should be medical.
Medical use, yeah. Traces of 2 waves are produced by a tuning fork of frequency 256 and the other from a note of produced by a violin string of frequency 256 Hz are observed on a monitor of a CRO. Will the two tracks look the same or different?
So different.
Because tuning fork will have monotone and violin will have subsidiary notes included in that.
In the other way, they're asking, will the waveforms be same or different? When they say 2 traces, name the characteristics of sound that will help to distinguish which one is coming from one.
Quality.
Timbre or quality.
Timbre or quality. Very good. Compare the pitch of 2 waves.
Equal.
So when they say compare, you are expected to write your answers in ratio form.
1:1.
1:1.
So,
Yes.
so in first one we can write that the tuning folk will have monotone and the violin will have monotone with subsidiary notes also.
Yeah, you can, but reason is not asked out over here. It's just asking whether it's same or different.
Okay, sir.
Nuclear radiations are allowed to be incident on the following materials of same thickness with background of fluorescent screen: aluminium and lead. In
Lead.
which case, one or two, do you think the shadow of radiation is darker? Now, when does
Lead.
shadow dark? When is the shadow dark
Case
and when is
one.
the shadow light? Give reason for your answer. Answer is lead. What should be the reason?
So it's
Lead will absorb all the three radiations, while aluminium will not be able to. It absorbs or blocks only alpha and beta. Gamma radiations it won't. Gamma has the highest penetrating power, so it will pass through aluminium. But lead has the capacity to absorb all. So the shadow of lead should be darker. Electric iron is rated 2.2 kilowatts, 220 volts. Calculate the resistance of the iron, time taken to consume 44 kilowatt hour. That's the energy consumption, and power consumed if it is connected to 200 volts supply. Now here, look carefully, the rating has 220 and the connecting supply is reduced to 200. So resistance, you can use the direct formula, P is equal to V square upon R. Here you have to convert power or express it in terms of watts, kilowatts. 2.2 into 1000 becomes 2200. The answer that comes out resistance is 22 ohms. Time taken to consume. So power into time is the electrical consumption. Since the consumption is given in kilowatt hours, you need to keep the power in kilowatt and time in hours. So time that you have to calculate, it turns out to be 20 hours. And power consumed. So as discussed earlier, the power will be changing around if you change the supply also. Potential difference on the supply. So P is equal to V square upon R, it will reduce.
Keep one thing in mind, whenever the supply potential changes, voltage will change, power will change, current will change, resistance will remain the same.
In any case, resistance remains constant. Okay?
Sir, why it's written as 22 in part C
Okay.
as resistance?
Resistance you have calculated in part A as 22 ohms, no? Resistance will remain same.
Okay, sir.
Okay? So I'm now just stopping my sharing part and we'll go for the question answers.
So how many more questions are there?
Done.
Done.
Sir, done?
Yeah,
Now,
questions
if you
are
have
done.
any doubts, we'll take the doubts.
Yes, sir.
So sir, like in electricity, whenever they refer higher potential, so are they like saying the negative? Are they referring to the negative terminal or the positive terminal?
You have in your syllabus potential difference. So difference between the two potential.
So they'll not ask us about potential.
Potential gradient and all, unless until they do the concept of electric field and all, they cannot ask all that.
And sir, could you like tell us that which chapters have to focus the most, and the boards will likely ask us tough questions on it?
Maybe I think this time you need to focus more on electricity and calorimeter.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead.
if it is given that if the length is double, the resistance will be 4 times or double.
Length is double of what? You're talking about the resistance in the wire?
Yes, sir. If it is simply given that if the length is double, the resistance will get, and the options will be double or 4 times.
So
she's talking with respect to stretching
stretching the wire.
So when the length is doubled, see in such situation you use your mind and say it will be doubled provided the cross section area remains same, and if it is stretched it will become 4 times. And if it is given option and both options are there without mentioning, then the question is not framed correctly.
Okay, sir.
Sir, will there be questions on specific resistance numericals?
I doubt, but it's there in your syllabus.
Sir, in those questions where we have those three frequencies, that is of stretch strings, that principal node, first subsidiary and second subsidiary, in that when the frequencies are in the ratio 1:2:3, then it is given that wavelengths will be in
No,
the
that's a
ratio
mistake
6.
in the textbook. Mistake in the textbook.
So then how to calculate that wavelength ratio then?
That's a mistake in the textbook.
No, how to calculate it?
So V is equal to F
No, then ratio method.
1:3:5.
Sir, which chapters to concentrate more?
I said more. See, actually, you cannot say like that. But I feel that this thing is more important. Your electricity and heat.
Sir, electromagnetism.
Yeah, electromagnetism is also, but then you are asking the most important. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is it okay to attempt
But the
an extra
weightage of
question?
electromagnetism is only 5 marks to 6, right?
Yeah, weightage of electromagnetism is not much. The maximum weightage will be of these two topics which I have said.
And so can they ask us about the ratios of the air columns and equations on that?
I doubt. Because numericals they will not ask.
Sir, should we attempt extra question if we have time?
See, I would suggest that once you finish the paper, okay, first of all, in the beginning 10 minutes, don't read question number 1. Spend time in reading question number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So
Because you have to make a proper choice from second question. I mean, second section.
Sir, in section B, there will be only 4 questions, no?
Yeah, so what did I say? 2, 3, 4, 5,
5 and
6.
6. 5 questions out of which you have to attempt 3.
3. Correct. So spend time. Maybe you can leave 3 to 4 minutes to read section 1 and make a proper choice in section 2. Do not change the order of the sub question. Leave substantial space after every sub question, because if you suppose later on you realize, yeah, I have to add something or my calculation has gone wrong, then you are leaving that buffer space. It should not happen that okay, you are writing and then there is no space, the remaining part is written on that page. That's not a correct way of doing it.
So it's fine that we leave 4-5 lines after each question.
Sub question.
So it's a sub question.
Yeah. And new question, so I would suggest start it on a fresh page. Okay. Then once you finish the paper, then you start reading the paper. Now it is very difficult to read your own paper, because even if you start reading it, you will be just reading it without understanding, because you yourself has written it. So I would suggest take a pencil and start underlining the points. So when you want to underline the points, then your concentration is there, and then actually you are reading the paper.
But so like our examiner told that we're not allowed to do that.
What?
So like using a pencil and doing some markings on the question paper.
Not question paper, I'm talking your answer sheet.
Oh.
See, you're getting confused. I have already finished the first part. Reading the question. There, if you mark something with a pencil, not a problem. But don't do calculations and all on that paper. Just tick, Baba, I'm going to attempt this. I have finished, tick, 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 ticks are allowed, no problem. No calculation should be done on the question paper. Once that is done, when you are writing the paper, once you finish writing the paper, I am talking towards the end. You pick up a pencil and start reading your question paper. It is very difficult to identify your own errors. I'm telling you. So you read it, but you didn't realize that, okay, you have made an error over there. So you start underlining the point. Then only you will get that concentration. And in this way, when you finish the entire paper, if there is time permits, you may, I will not suggest, but you may attempt one paper unless until you have a feeling that you have booked up in some question very bad. Okay?
Sir, in the previous
So I have some doubt.
Same.
Sir, in the energy sharing of force resonant in the vibration of pendulum.
Yeah.
So when two pendulum have same length and they share the energy, so the amplitude of the first pendulum is maximum, and at that time only the amplitude of second pendulum of same length is not maximum, it's minimum. So how
Because
is
they
that possible?
gradually interchange the energy. If it is
Okay.
there, if the two pendulums are there of same length,
Yes, sir.
okay, and you disturb one, so when you disturb one, that will start oscillating. It will transfer the vibrations of this, so it will also start vibrating. But as its amplitude increases, the amplitude of this will decrease. Then again, this amplitude will increase. So alternately, they will start vibrating with greater amplitude till the time they lose the entire energy to overcome the friction.
Or so what is the meaning of that? The vibration of the pendulum second are in phase with those of pendulum A.
The vibrations of, see, when they are in phase and out of phase, okay, that is
So meanwhile, there is an MCQ question. When a body vibrates under a periodic force, the vibrations of the body are. So the answer is forced vibration. So why cannot it be damped vibrations?
Can you get it again?
When a body vibrates under a periodic force, the vibrations of the body are.
yeah, so it could be damped vibration if it is in a frictional medium, and there is a medium resistance, frictional resistance of the medium is there. In a frictionless medium, it would be free vibration.
So then, could the answer also be damped vibrations here?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay, and when it is mentioned that it vibrates under a frictional force, then it will be only damped
Only damped
vibrations. Okay, yes, thank you.
So forced vibrations is like without any friction.
Without any
Friction.
No, not like that.
Force
vibrations are when the applied force is there. You don't disturb it. See, for vibrations, you need to transfer energy. So you disturb the pendulum, allow to vibrate on its own without continuous force acting. That is either damped or free vibration. But force vibration means continuously the force is acting. Are you understanding?
So,
Yes, sir.
so with this only I have a doubt that in resonance, the resistive force, so the resistive force tends to stop the pendulum from oscillating. So, sir, in resonance, how does the pendulum is not stopping and increasing its amplitude? So what happens
See,
of resistive
one
force
second.
there?
If you receive energy, the pendulum will start vibrating. When it start losing energy, okay, amplitude will decrease. Now, if you consider the initial amplitude of the pendulum, say 5 centimeter, arbitrary, okay. So when you are observing this phenomenon, that alternately they are oscillating with maximum amplitude, this amplitude will not remain 5 centimeters. It will gradually decrease because there is overall loss of energy to the surrounding, and ultimately both of them will come to rest. But till the time they come to rest, alternately they vibrate with maximum amplitude. depending upon how much energy is left with them.
Okay, sir. Sir, there is a question that why does it become more difficult to move a magnet towards a coil when the number of turns in the coil are increased?
That is related to the Lenz law. What does Lenz law state? That the direction of the induced EMF is such that it opposes the cause of producing it. Now, when you have a more number of turns, obviously the resistive force will also be greater. Hello?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Therefore, more force is required.
Okay, sir. Sir, and explain why an induced current must flow in a direction so as to oppose the change producing it. So you also have to explain the Lenz law.
Okay, it is again the same thing, because for work done, see, can the energy be transferred without doing the work?
No, sir.
Sir, would you recommend that?
One second, let me answer this question.
Yes.
Let me answer this question. So, what she is saying is that why the force must oppose. So, when it opposes, the work which is done is converted into electrical energy. Otherwise, how can you explain that? Excuse me. How can you explain that? How is the energy transferred? Without doing the work, energy cannot be transferred. So when there is resistive force, there is work done in overcoming that force, and that energy is converted into electrical energy.
So that mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, no?
Yes.
Okay.
So can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
So I have a
Sir, why are free vibrations practically not possible?
Because you cannot have unless and until there is absolute vacuum. And even if you have vacuum, at the point of contact, there will be friction. Up till now, we do not have any method by which, like at that point of contact, you minimize that friction or make it zero. So practically, easily it is not possible. You have to go to a location where there is vacuum, and like it's not that easy. That's why they say that it is not like easily, it is not practical.
So one numerical calculate. Can you please solve the sum, means show the steps, because I am not able to do this. It
Which
is that calculate the power of an electric heater required
One second, let me write down. Calculate the power of electric heater.
To melt 1 kg of ice at 0 degrees Celsius in 30 seconds.
Okay, time is 30 seconds.
If the efficiency of the heater is 40%.
Power of the heater is not given.
No.
And what
the
are they asked?
specific latent heat of ice is power if the heater is 40% efficient.
That's the power of the heater. Okay. And ice is changing to
Water at 0.
First we find
so 40 upon 100. Power you have to calculate. Time is 30 seconds. Mass is 1000 grams or 1 kg you can take. And L is 336.
Yes, sir.
So this
400. Sir, you took 400 as 40.
Sorry,
Can you
40%. And below 100. So this calculation you have to do. So 1000 into 336 into 100 upon 40 into 30.
Sir, means you have done 40% of the heat energy.
Yeah, because that's the efficiency, no? 40% efficiency, only 40% of this energy you are supposed to take. That will be
Okay, yes,
absorbed.
sir.
3
Okay,
into T
sir.
is the total energy, right?
Yes.
So I am taking 40% of that.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Sir, we expect diagram-based questions in
Yes,
examination.
very much. You should.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir?
I had a doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt. Sir,
Yeah.
in snow rule, when we change one thing like the direction of current is south to north.
Why do you need snow rule? I have told you the method by which you don't have to use any rule. You just
So can you
remember
please explain again?
you are talking about deflection of the needle, right?
Yes, sir.
See, the thing is that when I was explaining the previous question also, now if there is a conductor, okay, carrying current in this direction, and this compass is kept below it, then you don't have to use that rule. What did I tell you? You have to see that in which direction the magnetic field and north pole deflects in that direction. That's all.
So,
yeah,
do we need to see that the compass is over the current carrying
yes,
conductor or
because
below the?
when the compass is above the magnet, now for example, if it is below now, if it is below and the current is flowing in the upward direction, so when I'm considering below means it will come behind, and it is above means it will come towards me. Are you understanding that?
No, sir.
If it is below, when you are facing that line which you are seeing on the screen, below means it will be away from you on the other side of the line.
Yes, sir.
And if it is above means it is towards you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now hold an object in front of you as a conductor, and behind will be away from you, and above the conductor will be towards you.
Yes, sir.
So now the current is flowing in the upward direction. The magnetic field behind the conductor is to your left.
So can you repeat this thing again?
If you hold the thumb upward, okay, and if you try to encircle the fingers behind the conductor, the magnetic field is to the left of yours.
Yes, sir.
So the north pole will also deflect towards left.
Okay, sir.
Okay, but
yes, sir.
But if this compass, let us say, is above the conductor,
Yes, sir.
that means the magnetic field behind this wire is towards my left. But when you complete the circle, when it comes in the front part, it is towards your right.
Yes, sir.
So when this compass is above, will it deflect towards the right?
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is one question that what is the direction of magnetic field at the center of a coil carrying current in the clockwise direction? So I did not understand.
When the current is flowing in the clockwise direction, you are facing the north pole of the coil or south pole?
South pole.
South pole. Now you know in a bar magnet, magnetic field outside is from north to south and inside will be from south to north.
Yes, sir.
So when you are facing south, the other side will be north.
Yes.
That means from other side, externally, the magnetic field will come to this. So it will go inside this.
So not getting.
Suppose imagine you are facing this side. So when you are facing south, where is the direction of the magnetic field? Inside or out, coming out of the magnet?
Inside.
So similarly, this loop is a magnet, so it will go inside. Na?
Okay, means but inside the magnet it is from south to north, but outside the magnet it
Yes,
is
so, but
from
the
north
question
to
is they
south.
have asked at the center of the loop, no, not outside the loop.
Okay. Yes, yes, so the answer was along the axis of the coil inward.
Yes, that is inside.
Okay. If it was outside the coil, then it would have been in the clockwise direction, so along the axis of the coil outwards.
Yes, if it is in the anti-clockwise direction.
Okay,
Sir,
sir.
Yeah.
sir, in electricity PPTs, you had given two definition of EMF, internal resistance and potential drop. One is related to work done and one is related to potential difference. So which is we have to write in examination?
Potential difference.
No,
You
sir.
can see there are two definitions. You have in your syllabus only potential difference.
No, sir. In your PPTs, in your crash code PPTs, you had given the definition of EMF, potential drop, and the internal resistance related
Okay. So you can see it depends upon when they don't mention, you can give any definition. But if they mention in terms of work done, then accordingly you have to give that definition.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir, I had a doubt,
Sir,
sir.
sir, can you explain the sympathetic vibrations?
Sympathetic vibration I explained just now. The pendulums are of different length. And there are some pendulums are of equal length. Okay. Now in this case, if I disturb A, then B, C, D will be vibrate under force vibration. So none of them will have maximum amplitude because none of them matches the frequency of A. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
If I disturb C, the same thing will happen.
yes, sir.
But if I disturb B or D, A and C will vibrate with minimal amplitude. But if I disturb D, then B and D will alternately vibrate with maximum amplitude.
Yes, sir. Resonance will occur.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
Sir, in this diagram, as you said, if A is disturbed, then B and D will not vibrate with maximum amplitude.
Why your supply? Which pendulum supplies energy?
A.
Then how can they vibrate with maximum amplitude unless until they get the energy from A?
So means B and D are of same length.
Yeah, but they will not vibrate with maximum amplitude unless and until you disturb either B or D.
Okay. Yes, sir. This okay.
Frequency of force vibration will not match with the natural frequencies of B and D.
You need to identify which is the force vibration.
Excuse me, sir, I had a doubt, sir, in a question. Yes, sir, there is a thermos flask of negligible heat capacity and it contains 100 grams of ice and 30 grams of water. We have to calculate the mass of steam at 100 degrees Celsius needed to condense in the flask to just
Steam you
melt
don't
the
have
ice.
in your syllabus, Baba.
Excuse me, sir.
In the syllabus, you have only the ice.
Ice and water.
In the numericals.
Okay, sir. So I
Excuse
don't
me,
need
sir.
to solve this question. Okay, sir.
Sir, in the specimen, there is a one question: which will absorb more heat, 10 gram of ice at 0 degrees Celsius or 10 gram of water at 0 degrees Celsius? If we write the
10 grams of ice absorbs.
yes, sir, ice. Although we have to explain the reason also.
See, explain the reason if it is asked.
No, sir. Here is only the which will absorb more heat.
Yeah, so then there is no need to explain.
Okay, sir.
Read the questions and keep your answers as per the questions only. If it states give reason, then only you specify the reason.
And sir, do we have to give up to 2 decibel in the answer or we can always round it off?
Advisable 2 decimal places.
Okay, sir.
Sir, all the answers should be in point wise, no?
Yes,
Decimal.
absolutely.
Nothing to be left out in fractions. Even if they are asking you ratios, ratio should be in the is to form, not to be left out in the fractional form.
So can you please explain the concept of latent heat and specific latent heat in short?
Concept of
latent heat and specific latent heat.
See, latent heat is the total. For example, if I have 20 grams of ice. Now 20 grams of ice absorbs how much heat to melt? 20 into 336, 6720. So that is the latent heat. But specific latent heat means 1 gram will absorb how much, which is 336. So per gram, how much heat absorbs to change the state at constant temperature is specific latent heat. And when it is multiplied by mass, it will give me the total latent heat.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, may I
Sir,
ask a doubt?
Yeah.
So is it mandatory to show the flowchart in heat numericals?
No.
See,
So when
flowchart and tabular formation is for our convenience, so that when we substitute it properly.
Sir, like
otherwise there are so many values you get confused, and that is why you can make a mistake. And especially in these numericals, the maximum marks are at the stage 1.
So when
Sir, like you in your class in crash course, you advise us to draw a graph. Here, the curve graph.
That is provided it is not there in your mind, because after solving so many numericals, the graph should be there in your mind. If not, then you draw it somewhere else, and it is better to refer to the graph.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in a question, it is that two resistors in one part they are connected in parallel, and in the next part they are connected in series. And the question is the total electrical energy supplied by the battery in 1 minute. So, is there a different method to calculate that?
Yeah, we did one sum just now, na? When the rating of the bulb was given and the bulb were asked to connect in series. So we calculated the resistance, and then we took those two resistors, 800 ohm. Do you remember the sum which we did?
Question 5.
Yes, sir. Sir, but here the total electrical energy, so how to calculate that?
Sir, we get the questions of the relating to calculating wavelength, frequencies, this type of things.
Calculating
wavelength frequencies.
Wavelength frequencies.
Yeah, because that is the basic. See, it's like this. When you go for higher classes, no one tells you that addition, subtraction, multiplication. Those are, since sound chapter is there, that is the basics of that.
Okay,
so I think that may be asked, but I don't think so. There will be much emphasis on that. Yeah, so I was talking about this thing.
Series and parallel connections.
Yeah. So in this case, 800 and 800, and I think voltage was 200. 200. Correct? And the rating of the bulb was 50 watt to 20.
No, first 200, 220.
220.
That was the next question. Where you drop up. Question 6. Question 5 was same voltage. Rating and the
okay,
supply voltage.
You tell me what is your question. Tell me the values. I'll calculate accordingly. Hello?
Yes, sir. Sir, in parallel.
Tell the resistor values that you have in the question.
Yes, sir. It is in parallel and it is 6 ohm and 3 ohm.
6 ohms and 3 ohms. First, they are connected in series. And then in parallel, first in parallel and then in series.
Yes, sir.
Across how much?
12 volt.
No internal resistance, right?
No.
Okay. Now, in this case, you have to calculate the energy, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, energy you can calculate it as V square upon R into T. Correct? So, I will have to calculate the total resistance of these two. So R is equal to 6 into 3 upon 6 plus 3. That will give me 2 ohms. So 12 into 12 upon 2. And for how much time they are operated?
In 1 minute.
So 60. That will be when they are parallel. But when they are in series, my resistance becomes 9 ohm. So I'll again use the same formula. E is equal to V square T upon R. So 12 into 12 upon R, that is 9 into 60.
Okay, sir. Sir, but the formula is I square RT. So which is this formula?
What? E formula is basically VIT. Now in place of V, if you substitute I into R, you will get I square RT. But in place of I, if I substitute V upon I will get V square T upon R. Any formula I can use.
Okay, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
There's a one past year question that which characteristics of sound make it possible to recognize a person by his voice without seeing him? So the answer is pitch, na?
No, quality.
So why not pitch?
Because I can produce the same pitch with violin, I can produce the same pitch with guitar, I can produce the same pitch with different instruments.
Okay,
But still the voice will be different because of the quality.
Okay, the answer is quality.
Yeah.
Asa, there is a question. The ratio of amplitude of two waves is 3:4. What is the ratio of their loudness? So loudness means the square of the amplitude.
Intensity, basically when they are talking loudness is when the correct terminology will be the intensity ratio.
Yes,
So
sir.
that will
And
be 9
what
is
is
to
the
60.
so what is the ratio of the frequencies?
You can't say. The data is not given.
If this is same wave, then it would be 1:1.
Yeah.
Pitch is same, then 1:1.
Okay, sir.
If they have they mentioned same pitch,
No, sir. The ratio of amplitude.
then you cannot say, you cannot be. The data is insufficient.
Sir, in the textbook it is given that if the length of the wire is doubled, then the area of cross section gets half, then the resistance
Yeah,
increases.
correct. That is provided when you stretch it. See, it's like this.
Sir, how to remember this?
Huh?
How to remember this? Will it come in exam?
That how can I tell you will it come in the exam?
Sir,
But
can you explain?
if you have the length and if you stretch it and double it, obviously the thickness will decrease, na?
Yes.
But if you just add another length to it further, then the thickness will not be affected. So it has to be very specific. Length doubled mean by stretching or just you take the conductor of the double length.
Sir, means if the length is doubled and at the same time the area of cross section is halved, so how will it affect the resistance?
When you double the length, area of cross section will become half. Volume is equal to cross section area into height. Right or no? So when I am stretching the wire, am I changing the volume of the wire?
No.
So if I am doubling the height, my cross section area should become half in order to keep the volume the same.
Yes.
That is the concept.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I have covered quite a lot of your doubts. These doubts I think will be unending session. But what I would suggest is that please thoroughly go through the topics. You have 2 days in your hand. That is tomorrow's now. Okay. And please study properly. Focus more on electricity and calorimetry. Maximum weightage is on these 2 topics. But I will not suggest that leave any topic for what do you call option.
Listen.
So,
Yes.
so will we have class tomorrow?
No class tomorrow.
Sir, what exactly topics you have to do in radioactivity?
What exact topic? Radioactivity is the topic. In
Subtopics.
radioactivity, you need to know the comparative properties of alpha, beta, gamma. then under which condition alpha radiations are given out, and then you should be able to complete the alpha emission reaction, that is atomic number decreases by 2, mass number decreases by 4, properties of alpha radiation.
So we also get the explanation of how beta particles form the gamma particles, or the general equation only. Like in the crash course, you explain that part.
I didn't get it. What you're saying?
Formation of emission may. How does beta particle emit?
You mean to say, yes, that see, you need to know the concept that a beta particle is emitted when neutron splits up into proton and electron.
Yes, sir.
But I don't think so in detail they will ask anything further in that.
Okay, sir.
Sir, if we do your PPTs
Sir,
thoroughly,
what
is that
is
enough?
What is the
weightage for household circuit?
so that I don't know. Weightage of electricity will be roundabout equal weightage will be there for maybe 16 to 17 marks, not 16 to 17.
So the paper is easy or tough?
How do I know? I am expecting an easy paper because first term paper was difficult. That's what everyone says.
Sir, in that household circuits, there is
Sir,
too
it's
much
more
theory, so we
conceptual
have
in
to do all that.
semester 1.
Conceptual it will be.
So there is too much theory in the household circuit, so we have to do all that.
The much of the portion is reduced.
Yeah, so I'm talking about reduced portion only. You stick to the reduced portion.
Sir, I'm only studying your PPTs only.
Is that enough? Yes, sir.
See, PPTs which I have given you are explanatory, they are very much. But if you are looking for that 11111 mark, then you cannot neglect the text.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you please tell about the time management in physics?
That's what I said in the beginning. The management of time. So first of all, see there you have total 1.5 hours. Correct? In fact, you are at an advantage. Every time for 80 marks paper, you get 2 hours. You are getting 50%, but still 1.5 hours.
Half an hour extra.
Half an hour extra, so you have sufficient time to think. So if you look at the calculate, that is 30. You total have to solve 40 marks, right? So that means each question, even if you take roughly, this is how many marks it becomes? 90 minutes.
90.
So 90, so at least 15 minutes you are getting per question. Aram se.
Out of which one question is your MCQs.
Out of one MCQ, let us say you take a little longer time. But don't spend more than 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes on one question. Go ahead, finish the paper, and then you come back.
20 minutes.
Leave space whenever you are not getting any particular question. See where the time management goes wrong, like on one particular question you are thinking, and then you don't pay attention at the other part, and then you realize that I have to complete so much. So please time yourself not more than 15 to 20 minutes per question.
Maximum 20.
Can we attempt
In fact,
section
less than
B
20.
first?
Yeah.
So can we attempt section B first?
That is okay, but don't do section 1, then section B, then again section 2. Don't do that.
Advisable will be complete one section and then go to the
Go
next.
to the other section.
So if we get the time, then we attempt the extra question or not.
As I told you before, your priority should not be attempting the extra question. Your priority should be that after completing the paper has to be thoroughly checked. If the time permits and you have a feeling somewhere, sometimes the gut feelings are there, you have made a mistake, then only go for. Otherwise, ICSE clearly states don't make attempt the extra question. But still, I don't think so. They can pass the extra
question or anything. Then do we have to underline the keywords?
Underline the
keywords.
Keyword.
Advisable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Avoid using highlighters. Don't use highlighters in your answers.
Underline with the pencil. That's better.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I think I am calling off the session now. All the best. I'm sure you will do well as the previous papers are done. I mean, they are easy. Like maths paper, this time physics paper will also be easy. Clear?
All the best, students.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.